Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs, and today we're going to be making Cartman, and finally we're going to be doing him on a single loom. I know a lot of you have been waiting very patiently for this. Thank you for that. It's a little difficult trying to squeeze an extended loom version onto a single loom, so bear with me because we're going to have to do a bit of fancy footwork. We're going to start with our loom in the standard configuration. All of the columns are going to be the same height. The arrow is facing towards you, or if you don't have an arrow, it's the open part of the peg facing towards you. We're going to be starting where we put two bands here on a peg, basically looking like they're going to be doing absolutely nothing, and they won't be until we move them onto the next column, and we're going to be doing that quite a bit. Then we're going to take two blue bands and we'll place those across here, and I have to stress that the placement of the bands is very important. Another two blue bands will go here. Then we're going to move down with some yellow bands for the top of his hat. Very important, just throw your bands. Okay, here we go. Be sensible, Kate. No goofing around. Let's place some yellow bands there, and we're going to do some skin tone bands. Now the colours I've picked are the colours that Cartman are, which is yellow and blue, and then I'm using pink for his skin, I'm using yellow again for his gloves, red and black for his little outfit. Now, when we place these two here, we are going to want two bands to go across to the next column, but that's not there yet. So we're just going to sit them here, looking beautiful, doing nothing. All right, we'll take two and put them from here to here. So these are just going to sit there waiting until we're ready. Let's take some red bands. Okay, we're going to do two from here to here, and two from here to here. As I said, we're double banding. I hope I said we're double banding. I usually say that. Now we're going to go across here. We're doing the chubby part of his body. And we come down three pair this side. Like that. Going to take some black for his shoes. Now before I go, silly me, let's do the third. Okay, so we'll put those like that. Now I have two black, one here and a pair here, and then we're going to put here a pair that will go across when we're ready. We're not ready yet, so they're just going to sit there looking beautiful, and we'll put a pair of black on top of them like that. Now take two black bands, wrap once and twice, and we're going to slide those onto two black bands and reclaim the ends, and that will sit here on his foot. That's going to be his little shoe. Okay, next we're going to do some crossover bands, and we're going to do his arm. We'll do his arm first. Take three yellow bands and wrap once. Right, this is going to be his mitten, and then take two and slide on and reclaim. So this is actually, you know what, let's make it a bit tighter. You'll take your three, you'll wrap once and twice. We'll do that, and then slide those onto a pair of yellow bands like that, and reclaim the end of your bands, and that's going to sit here on his shoulder. Well, it's kind of his shoulder, it's his tummy. It's going to sit there. We're needing some crossover bands. Now, we don't have all of our columns to stretch them across to, so we're just going to stretch across what we have. So it's a single red band that we're using in this instance. Make it go under the yellow. So we're just going to do those like that for the minute. Same for the skin tone. Okay, you're going to take one and move it across to here, another, move it across to here, and a yellow one here, and a yellow one here. Alright, that's all we can do at the minute. Okay, let's dig down. We're going to find the two top black bands, which are these ones. Okay, so pull this back, find the two top bands, grab them, and you're going to loop them to the right. Okay, then we're going to find the next two, and we're going to loop those up, like that. Find the top two red bands, and they get looped to the side here. And let's do these ones too. Pushing the crossover bands back with the back of your hook, that is important. Loop this one up, and then we dig down and find the two red and loop those across. This is looped in, this is locked into place, so we can take this off and free up this column. So let's do that. Gently does it. Hold on to your your pegs here so that we don't lose anything. Alright, now we're going to take our base removal tool and remove our small bases and budge them up one, so we have this extra area here waiting for our next column. Okay, and then take your column of pegs off and move it forward. This is my moving forward technique. We need this to be in the offset configuration, so it's going to be a little bit higher than the one in front of it. Okay, now the other thing is we're going to need two yellow bands like we have with this, two yellow bands to pop here so that they can move down on the next column, which we don't have yet. So pop those there, and then we have two yellow and two blue. When I say two, I'm meaning a pair of yellow. Let's just stop those from being twisted. Some skin tone. Now, when we place these skin tone, we have another two that we want to go across. The column's not there yet, but it still needs to be placed. Now we're going to drag our other two skin tone that we had waiting here and pop those on that peg. Okay, like that. Now we can do our red. Now we're not going to put red all the way to the bottom. What we're going to do is a pair of black from here to here. Also, we need a pair of black to go from here to nowhere. So let's put our pair there and then stretch this pair across. So that's going to be like that. Okay. Now we also need to put his buttons on. So take a single black band and wrap it around your hook, and it's going to just get placed on top of these couple of pegs. 1, 2, and 3. We need to do eyes. You've got your pony beads, and I've threaded them onto a single skin tone, in this case pink band, and I'm going to place one here. And because I don't have, get out of the way you, because I don't have the other side to place it on, I'm just going to place it above on this peg above here in the middle. that's not where it's going to live, but it's going to live there for the minute. Now the other thing we need to do is drag the crossover bands over. So let's do that. Now I appreciate that they're not going across onto the one here, they're going one higher. That's okay. With this crossover band, let's drag this crossover band over. There we are. And now place our eyes back on its holding spot. From here, just loop it up to this spot here for the minute. Same with all of these. Like that. Okay, now let's do a little bit more looping. We're going to dig down here and grab the 2 top black bands and loop to the side. And then dig down and find the 2 bottom black bands and loop up. Loop up. This one can now come across like that. Now here we're going to find the 2 top pink bands and loop them up. The next top pink bands have to get looped down here. I appreciate that we're going to have to lift these up to loop these up. That's fine. These ones get looped up to the middle here. And let's go ahead and do a little bit more looping. Let's get loopy. Let's loop this eye in. Okay, so we're going blue underneath, like that. This is now locked in. We can take it off our loom. Again, gently, you don't want these to come off their pegs. Okay, so if you get worried, push everything down. Alright, so this column is now free. Let's dig down and grab the base plate, move it forward and take this column of pegs off. It is going to go below this one, so we now have the offset configuration, okay? And as you know, this one is going to pull down, but we need to have a blue one for the next column. So let's put our blue bands there for the next column, and then we'll place our yellow bands on top. Okay, so that's going to go down like that. Okay, so from here we need 2 blue bands, 2 yellow bands, we need some skin tone bands, and again, this is not the end of our face, so we need 2 more skin tone bands to sit here, and then drag these 2 up to here, and they will come up here. Alright, we can drag our crossover bands over. I'm going to do the crossover band first, and then I'm going to move the eye over because that's the peg that it needs to sit on. So we're looking a little bit healthier in the face area. Now let's do some red bands here. We've got 2 red here, but we also need to have 2 red to go the other side. So I'm going to take these off there, just let them sit, okay? And then the 2 red will go on top so that these can go across. Alright, let's do some more red. See, I'm flinging bands everywhere. Alright, from here to here we're going to do black, like, I'm telling you fibs, we're not doing black there, It's another pair of red, and then it's the black, and then we're going to need another black from here to here. So let's put those on this peg, waiting to do something, but at the minute they're doing nothing, and we'll drag these two across, so those will go across to here. Okay, let's drag our crossover bands over. Like that. Alright, we're ready to loop up. You need to find the two top black bands, and they're going to go down here to the right, and then you can loop these middle ones up. Fancy footwork happening here. Loop those ones up, and then we have to pull these little black bands down. Push your hook under. You've got two bands here and two bands here that are red. Push your hook under the bottom of the two red bands. Grab the two black bands and pull them to the front and over. Alright, let's do that again. Loop up, come under, you've got these two and these two, come under there. I twist my hook around a little bit just to get a hold of those two black bands and pull them forward. And one more time, loop up, go under the bottom two, push your hook in, grab the two black bands and pull them forward. Okay, they're his little buttons. Now here we're going to lift these pink bands up and grab those red ones and loop in, and then replace the pink. Okay, we're also going to dig down and find the next two top pink bands, which are here, and loop those across. Then the last two bottom ones get looped up. Loop up, 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 and loop up. Now we can take this safely off, but I'm going to dig down first here and grab those next two yellow and loop them down here, just to be on the safe side, so I can take these off without too much of a worry that I'm going to lose everything. Take these off my loom. Careful that I don't lose this one here. Push things down if I feel that they're riding too high. Now turn my loom over and let's move the base plates again. And then this column. And this is going to sit the same height as the one before it. Okay. Alright, now we do not have, the face is skinnier than the tummy, so when we drag these two blue ones over, we don't have to put anything on this peg first, we just drag the blue ones over. Then we need two yellow and some skin tone. So the extra column that we're going to do after this is actually just for tummy. Move those like that and twirl it around so they're not twisted. I'm going to poke my hook down here and grab those two pink, and they're going to go up, and then my two red are going to come down here. Alright, grab a few extra red bands. Now when I place these, I'm going to try and make sure that I can loop them up nicely so that I'm placing them in the right order. So please, as I said earlier, be mindful of the order in which you place things. You need a pair of black. These black bands are going to go across to here, but we don't need another pair to go across. What we're going to do is take two black bands, wrap once and twice, and we will slide those onto 2 black bands, and that will be his foot, like that, and pop that on the end of his leg. Okay, now we need to drag our crossover bands over, and we can loop up this middle column. Dig down, find the 2 top black bands and loop those across. Oopsie. Let me rescue those 2. There we go. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because we want this one to loop into here too, alright, but this is the column that we need to have looped in, and as you can see it all is. So very carefully we're going to take this column off our loom, okay, and this is where we have to be careful because we have not looped up the head, so please be really careful that you do not lose any of your bands from your pegs on the head. Okay. From here down you're okay because they're looped in. Make sure you don't have any straggling bands getting stuck. Alright, now we're going to turn our loom over and we're moving the big base plate. Move it forward 1, and this is our last column. Pull that off. It goes the same height. Now just make sure everything is in the right spot. Push things down because that last little maneuver could have, you know. Alright, now for here we should have put 2 on here, but I forgot. So I'm going to lift the crossover band up, okay, and I'm going to place 2 across there, and I'm going to replace my crossover band which I just very carefully dropped. Okay, let's place these bands. This is for his tummy. And this goes from here to here. So again, lift up the crossover band and lift up the shoe and place 2 red bands there between here and here. Replace the shoe and replace the crossover band. Now let's drag the crossover bands across to incorporate that extra column, like that. And we also need to do another arm. Let's put some of these away so I'm not throwing bands everywhere. 3 bands, wrap once and twice, and you're sliding onto 2 yellow bands. Reclaim the end of your bands like that. That's going on here. Right there. Alright. Okay, we can do this. Dig down, find the 2 bottom black bands here and loop them up. Find the 2 top red bands after you've pushed all your crossovers back. Find the 2 top red and then the bottom 2 red and loop them up. We need to make sure that we loop every single step of the way, okay? Otherwise things will break. Dig down, find the 2 bottom red bands and loop up and loop up. Okay, now we're going to lift this pink set up dig down here and find those bottom 2 red bands. These are important. Loop them in, and then we put the pink bands. I think we have to loop this set up here. This is really important. If you forget this, your whole thing will fall apart. So dig down and loop that in. Alright, that is one I always forget. Now replace your pink bands. Alright, dig down, find the 2 top pink bands and they loop to the side. Let's make sure I've got them. Here they are. There we go. So you got the teardrop shape. The next 2 get looped up. I cannot stress how important these ones are. The amount of times I've forgotten those. Dig down, loop up. Push that eye band back so that you're just getting the 2 bottom bands. Okay. Alright, from here we're going to loop this one up and this one up, and then we're going to get 2 blue bands and tie off at this point here. Push your hook through out the corner, put your 2 blue bands on your hook, unless you're being a muppet like me. Drag them through and to the back of the peg here. Take the closest ones up, over, off and pull tight. Let's take this off the loom and hope that nothing falls apart and hope that it looks like Cartman. Would be nice. Push his eyes through. Oh, it's looking hopeful. Stretch him out. I'm going to move my loom out the way. Now, on the top here he does have a bobble and we didn't do that, so I'm going to take a couple of bands, 3 bands, and wrap around my hook once, and I'm going to take 2 bands to slide that on, reclaim. Now what I'm going to do, I want it to go either side like that, so I'm going to take this side off. I'm going to push my hook through the band here up the top, okay, like that. I'm going to reclaim the end of my bands here. There's one, there's the other. Get those blue bands out the way, pull my hook through, take these ones over the top like that. I'm going to splay it out and pop the bubble through like that, so it's a bit of a bubble hat, okay. And then I'm going to hide these blue ones which are flopping around in the wind behind some of the existing bands at the back of his head here, like that. Now for his eyes, I'm going to take a black Sharpie, and usually they sort of have those little tiny pinprick eyes, don't they? So I'm just going to do 1 and 2 like that. Now I don't know how people want to do, if people want to do mouths or not. If you do want to do a mouth, I would recommend using a black band and snip it in the middle like that, and then if you do choose to do a mouth, poke your hook through, stab him through the face and make that little band that you just cut, form a little loop, grab one side and pull it through so that he's suspended on it like that, and then the other side at approximately the same spot and pull it through, and then all you're going to do to secure that is my favourite thing in the world, tie a knot. Once you've tied your knot, trim it so that it's not going to encroach on the front of your figure. Pull it out a little bit so that it's not at the back, and voila, there we have Eric Cartman from South Park. I hope you enjoy making him. Take care. Bye bye.